Welcome back everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 1991 Toyota Chaser GT Twin Turbo. So this is part of the fourth generation that was produced between 1988 and 1992, and it has a front engine rear wheel drive layout, and yeah, it was the top of the line car in terms of power and performance, although there were slightly more luxurious versions of this that had a slightly larger engine but ultimately a much less powerful engine. Yeah, the larger engines were basically there just to provide a smoother ride, whereas this is a lot sportier, although it does have some elements to it that do make it more of a GT car than a sports car. And yeah, well, that does live up to the name at the end of the day, because GT does mean Grand Tourer, and yeah, this is called a GT at the end of the day, so you would expect a more luxurious or at least comfortable feeling to it. Interior wise, yeah, it's everything you'd expect from a early 90s car. Lots of buttons, decent amount of equipment, nice precise dials, and yeah, lots of badging with GT twin turbo all over the place. So yeah, you got a decent overall interior, to be honest. It's nothing spectacular, but pretty much everything's there that you'd expect on a car of this class. You got a hell of a lot of decent legroom as well in the rear. Again, not the most amount of legroom, but neither is it the worst. This apparently with this version of the Chaser will put the Chaser name up in terms of size level with the Toyota Crown, which was before this came out was Toyota's biggest passenger car. So yeah, but still, it's got plenty of practicality on the go due to it being quite a sizable car, decent sized boot. And you can tell it's a bit more of a sporty version because it's got a rear spoiler and twin exhausts. Plus, it's also got some mechanical stuff to it to make it a sporty car as well. It's got a limited slip rear differential, disc brakes all round, but unfortunately it's somewhat saddled by a 4-speed automatic gearbox. So yeah, that's the GT side of this car coming through. Yes, it has the power, the torque, and not much in the way of weight at 3,395 pounds, but GT side means you've got an automatic gearbox, you've got plenty of practicality, but at the end of the day, it's still not enough to really harm this car's performance, as it has a fantastic 2.5 litre twin turbocharged inline 6 engine, producing a whopping 276 horsepower and 267 pounds-feet of torque, which is, yeah, definitely one of the more powerful Japanese cars from this period, especially when you compare it to other sedan or saloon cars. Easily one of, I guess you could say, Japan's first sports saloon cars. Although it would be outclassed by the likes of BMW from the same period, it's still an overall a good all-rounder, and yeah, definitely a great first effort as far as sports saloon cars go from Japan. But yeah, nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. Right, so here we are at the drag strip, so let's see what this car can do before we hit the speed camera at the other end of the runway, and then we'll get it around the track. So yeah, with that automatic gearbox, the acceleration is decent. At the end of the day, it does have a lot of power and torque for a car of this kind of weight and size, but that automatic gearbox is definitely holding it back to some degree. It's just because it's not particularly quick in terms of changing gear. It's got quite long ratios, and then at the end of the day, that means we can only do 114 miles an hour. Guarantee if we had a manual, there was a 5-speed manual on offer for some versions of this car from this generation. There was a 5-speed manual. I guarantee it would be a much quicker car and probably a little bit more exciting as well. But at the end of the day, what we've got here is a very powerful, reasonably accelerating GT car that has plenty of practicality on the go and a sort of sleeper quality look to it. Because at the end of the day, even with that automatic gearbox, this is no slouch in terms of performance, and yeah, it's also pretty damn good in terms of handling overall. See how good in both respects. Let's get out onto the track, so let's take a look at the stats first. Rivals, we're in top end C-Class, and these are the stats. So the launch isn't particularly great because of that automatic gearbox, but the braking and handling are fairly good for a car of this age and type. Acceleration and speed are pretty good as well. So yeah, it is at the end of the day the only main issue with this car is that automatic gearbox. Even the weight isn't much of an issue for a car of this kind of power, because yeah, that is not particularly heavy for a car of this age. And yeah, there's certainly heavier cars out there that have less power from this period. But nonetheless, let's hear what this car sounds like, and then we'll talk about it some more. So yeah, I think this overall sounds pretty good. You can hear the turbochargers, which is nice, and yeah, it revs nicely as well at nearly 7,000 RPM. So yeah, on the whole the engine is pretty good. Handling wise is also solid as well. It does like to you know, oversteer at times, especially when you push it a fair bit, but that just means that you can get plenty of enjoyment out of it as well, and I'm sure this will be a bigger have a bigger fan base in the drifting community as well, because being rear-wheel drive and having quite a you know, no doubt plenty of engine options to either swap in or upgrade the engine itself. So yeah, handling is pretty damn good. Braking is also good as well, because of those front and rear disc brakes, and because at the end of the day there isn't much weight to slow down. And acceleration is fairly solid as well. 0 to 60 in only 6 seconds, which is fairly quick even by today's standards. 0 to 114.7, and it goes to a top speed of 160 miles an hour, which again is pretty good. It is, at the end of the day, just comes down to the gearbox that is the only major flaw with this car, because pretty much everything else is fine with this car. I can understand why some people might not like the look of it, because it is a little bit plain in some respects, but I kind of like the classic look that it's got going for it. And at the end of the day you have a couple of extras to spice up the looks of it, with a rear spoiler and those twin exhausts. And yeah, but like I said, it also gives it a sleeper quality where some people might not expect this car to be particularly quick because of the way it looks. But yeah, it's easily able to keep up with some you know, reasonably fast saloon cars from the same period as this. No doubt about that. So yeah, on the whole, I really like the fact that this is in the game now. And yeah, it's not a car I knew of before. Not particularly well versed in classic Toyotas, to be honest, outside of the ones that we've already got on this game or other Forza games. But yeah, I am glad it's in the game, and yeah, it is at the end of the day a brand new car to the Forza series. So yeah, get out there and get this car if you haven't already. It's currently on the festival playlist for only 20 points. It's well worth getting. It's going to be another one of my favourites from the festival playlist, I can imagine, and hopefully it'll be for you as well. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.